Hello everyone. Thank you for coming to talk to me. If we could all just go around and introduce ourselves and who we are, and talk about what activism we've sort of been involved in. So obviously I'm Maddy. I'm involved in XR Sheffield and sort of peripheral other XR support movements too. So Izzy, do you want to talk about what you're involved in?
Hi, yeah, I'm Izzy. I'm 19. I'm a part of XR Chew Valley, which is just on the edge of Bristol, and I've been involved in quite a lot of XR Bristol things. I've also joined in all of the London protests and things, and the Black Lives Matter protests, if we're talking about that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then Mitto?
Yeah, I'm Mitto. I'm involved in XR Sheffield and XR University of Sheffield, and also like the campaign against HS2.
And Charlie, you're muted, just so you know.
Thank you. I'm Charlie, my pronouns are she, her, I'm 20. I go to University of Bristol and I'm in XR Youth Bristol. I have also been to one of the HS2 camps, so I guess I'm involved in that as well. And yeah, supporting the Black Lives Matter movement.
I've been to the HS2 camps as well, sorry.
Everyone here has been to the HS2 camps apart from me, which is making me feel kind of sad.
Yeah. Yes, I have as well.
So from that, what specific movements and campaigns have you guys been involved in? If I just sort of let that go out there. Charlie, do you want to start? I can tell you want to talk about it.
No, it's just yeah, so I've been in XR Youth Bristol, which sort of formed or developed more recently. It's sort of in August. Before that it was XR Under 18s Bristol and XR Unis Bristol and a couple of other things, and then they all sort of amalgamated to make one. But I've been involved in that since November, because my flatmate was in XR and she was really big with it, and she just didn't stop talking about it, and I went to the intro to XR thing more to support her than, because she was running it, so more to support her than actually to learn about it, and ended up knowing most of the people who'd been to all of the meetings for the past year, and I was like, okay, this is okay, clearly I need to get involved. So that was really fun. And then over lockdown I sort of did a few more of the trainings and stuff that they were running as part of We the Future and stuff, and then the September Rebellion, I got very heavily involved, and that was really fun. Yeah, and then obviously supporting Black Lives Matter movements just in and around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Izzy, what have you been doing with XR recently?
I've been particularly involved with the Bristol Airport because they're trying to expand, and that's kind of in the area that I live in. So we had organised a protest at the end of August, and I did a speech. So yeah, a lot been going on with that over the past year, and then I've just involved with General XR over the last kind of 2 years. Yeah, just kind of coming to protests.
Mm-hmm. I always forget XR only formed a couple of years ago, because it feels it's been around forever.
It's its second birthday in this month or something, I think.
Yeah. I accidentally said I went to an XR action in 2017 the other day, and I was like, no, I didn't. It wasn't around then. Anyway, sorry, Mitto, do you want to talk about what you've been involved in recently, what you're planning to do?
Yeah, so most recently, I was involved with the September Rebellion. I went down to London and stayed in London for 2 weeks or so. Yeah, and then through that I sort of learned about HS2 and HS2 camps, and then went along to an HS2 camp recently, and yeah, I learned all about that. And yeah, I'm also currently quite heavily involved in the University of Sheffield XR groups, which is trying to get that off the ground, which is quite hard during the lack of social contact that we can have.
I am sort of I was very involved in XR last year, but ended up not really being able to do much this year, specifically because I'm a risk group of COVID, so I wasn't able to go to any of the September Rebellion or anything like that. So I'm I feel a bit useless at the moment, so I just sort of come to myself by doing a lot of arrest support, basically. But yeah, coming on from that, obviously I can't really answer this because I haven't done anything recently, to be honest. But what were your favourite actions that you've been involved in? If we go Izzy first.
Oh, like ever or recently?
Ever, recently, either.
Uh, oh, does someone else want to go first? I'll think about this.
Charlie, you go first. Go on.
you know.
I know where this is going.
So I with the September Rebellion recently, Bristol, XR Youth Bristol kicked off the rebellion by locking onto the Clifton Suspension Bridge, and yeah, that was fun. It was real pretty on the bridge. There was just me, one other person locked on, and then our police liaison. And then like apparently I think it was like 75 cops in and around for all 2 of us. We felt very honoured to have so many. Yeah, I was there for about 2.5 hours before I was arrested. That was good. And then yeah, that was, so like when we say favourite, I think most meaningful is perhaps because like I did spend about 15 hours of it in a cell, so like that wasn't great. But no, it was really, really pretty on the bridge, and it was really, really meaningful, and it felt amazing to be a part of the rebellion, like because I hadn't even started yet really. So the fact that it was like, yeah, let's go, was really, really good. Yeah, and then another one that I went to that I just really enjoyed was there was an All Black Lives Matter protest, like march in London during the rebellion, on like the second Saturday or something, and that was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. It felt really organic, and it was good to support other movements. So I think like, yeah, it's good. Enjoyed it. The September Rebellion was pang, to be honest.
Yeah, Mister, you were involved in that quite a lot, so do you want to talk about what you enjoyed from that action?
What, from the September Rebellion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed the whole experience of it, really. Like just camping in a random park in London and just sort of going along to whatever was going on. One thing that was really cool was when the people from HST Rebellion climbed up into the Parliament trees. So I was like down at the bottom, and the sort of uniting energy of that was just really, really cool, and it was just really, really fun and really unexpected. It was kind of what the rebellion needed at that point. I think was something exciting and spicy.
I think one of them stayed up there for 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think I had 21 days, yeah.
God, I can't imagine being in a tree outside Parliament for literally 3 weeks, but I guess, I don't know, it's one of those really cool actions that you hear about and you're like, what the hell? Izzy, have you managed to think of something?
Yeah, it's not really an extreme action, but just the at Cardiff at September Rebellion, there was like a all movements march, which was like Black Lives Matter, like XR, LGBTQ+, it was like Free Palestine, and all of these movements came together for just a massive march, and it was just really nice.
That's really cute. I heard a lot about all these ones, and I just watched them and was like, I'm annoyed now because I just couldn't be there. But yeah, fab. Well, to follow on from that, obviously we're all student activists. Do you feel that student activism has been integral to your student experience? And if so, do you think it's integral to every student experience, or do you think it's like individual? Or if that's anyone who wants to start that conversation.
Yeah, I can go.
Go on.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's been integral to my student experience, but it's been a massive like benefit, and I've had really real positive like experiences and results from it. Yeah, I think it's really important to do, particularly like starting activism when you're a student. I think it's quite a positive and nice environment in which to like learn the skills and the sort of reasons behind activism.
I support that. I think, yeah, student is like a good time. Being a student's a really good time because obviously there's so many different groups to join and like try your hand. And I think you can really choose something that you're like passionate about, which I think is really, really good. So rather than like, I don't know how good it is at different people's schools, but like as in high schools, but I think you've got sort of maybe 1 or 2 political groups that you can join. And if you're not really invested, then it's kind of hard. Whereas obviously at uni, there's so many. And I think it's a really good time to get involved. I also just think if you haven't been involved in a campaign at your time at uni, what are you doing? Like any campaign of one description or another, like whether it's cut the rent or like, I don't know, making one of the theatres more accessible or like whatever you care about, if you haven't been involved in a campaign at uni, just like, what? I don't know. I just find it really confusing. I'm like, what do you do? What do you care about if you haven't done anything? Like, so I guess it's not like integral, but I'm very confused by what you've done as a student if you haven't done anything, to be honest. Like, and I think I'm probably biased in that it's been a significant part of my student experience, especially because I do sociology. So like, I don't shut up about it ever. So that's good.
Yeah, I found it was like, I didn't really get involved in Exile Sheffield until Mitto brought me to an action in Sheffield City Centre, where we were just campaigning the mayor to actually do something about the climate crisis that they had supposedly declared. And at that point I remembered, because I hadn't been to any sort of action for about 8 months at that point, and I was like, oh yeah, I do remember why I did this for like a lot of 2019. Yeah, I don't know, Izzy, from a school leaver perspective, did you find that activism was like important to you and integral to your sort of life at high school?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it can be a bit difficult going into year 13, missing a lot of lessons for protests, but you can always do a lot behind the scenes with organising. And for me personally, it definitely helped me decide what degree I wanted to do and just showed me what I care about and what I'm passionate about. So yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm doing philosophy and politics.
That's fair.
That
I can see how that tied in. It's funny because in Sheffield, it's a lot of engineering students are involved in XR. It turns out, for some reason, it's just
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, that's you I'm talking about. No, not just
we've
you.
Got a similar thing at Bristol. There's just so many like engineering or physics people involved. And I'm like, how do you have the time? Like me with my 3 contact hours this year, like.
No, it's fine. You've got reading to do.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, sort of final question. What do you feel like you've gained from the activism that you've done in the last sort of couple of years as a student? Open up to anyone who wants to start.
Yeah, I'm happy to start again. Yeah, I've gained so much, such a massive amount of confidence in like coordinating and sort of running stuff and making my voice heard, and that learning that my voice actually is important, even though it's, you know, obviously one of many. I also gained like a lot of friends, and then like, also cheesy as it sounds, I've got quite a different life perspective because of activism. It's sort of changed how I view the world and my skepticalness of the government and things like that.
I find it it's very funny because when I look back on myself about sort of a year and a half ago, I remember talking about, I wasn't sure what career I wanted to do, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll end up being a police officer. It's one of those things that without student activism, I remember I would have probably sort of continued on that path for a while, but with student activism now, it's absolutely just not something I would do, because I've interacted with the police in a different way, where I've seen like, in my opinion at least, the police are like very complicit in a lot of things that are going on right now that are not good. For example, HS2. So it's, for me at least, it's been integral to like sorting out my worldview into one that I'm happy with, rather than sort of living in the sort of weird mist of confusion. Like, I kind of understand my morals better through activism, as like kind of up myself as that sounds. But yeah, Charlie, Izzy, would you want to talk?
You go.
To follow on from Mitto, like gaining like friends is definitely one thing that's huge from XR. Like not many people that I knew from school would really go to protests, so a lot of the time I go on my own. But I just kind of make friends when I'm there, and it's just such like a nice, welcoming atmosphere at any protest. So I've definitely gained a lot through meeting people, and I guess confidence of going there on my own and organising things and stuff like that. And realising what I care about as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to be really soppy and be like, I've gained a community, but like that's been covered. So, but yeah, no, I think I've gained like a significant recognition for the importance of like intersectionality, essentially. Like Mitto, when you were saying about the people who were the tree protectors in Parliament Square, were you there for the water bottle event?
I was there for a water bottle event.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the one, but
because there was one point where the police hadn't allowed water up for 24 hours, and it was just at the end of the ABLM march, which had also ended in Parliament Square, and there had been a bit of tension sort of towards the end, because I know the organisers were a bit like, okay, it's an ABLM march, like why are we going somewhere that is ending in XR? Which like I completely understand. Like I understand why there would be differences there, and there's been like a historical criticism of XR with regards to their like relationship with race and everything. So I completely understand their concern. But then as soon as they like all the talks had ended, and then like everyone from ABLM sort of went over to like under the trees, because there was like a massive kerfuffle, and we realised why, and it was obviously because these people hadn't had water for 24 hours. One of them was really quite unwell and had been advised not to come down because of her, like health conditions, and it just wouldn't be safe. So like low key, the police denying people their human rights, that's fun. And then someone just threw water up, and then there was such an energy of like everyone was just started throwing water up. Obviously they couldn't arrest everyone because everyone was doing it, and all of ABLM people were like, the organisers of that were all supporting, and like they started shouting like extinction, and everyone just yelled rebellion. Like my voice was so hoarse afterwards. Like it was, yeah, but the energy was amazing, and I just have learned massively the importance of intersectionality and like united movements, like movement for movements essentially is just like, wow, I don't know. I think that's my main takeaway from it, is I just massively understand the importance of not being like a single issue activist, essentially, because none of them are single issues. I don't know. I love it. It's good.
A friend of mine was involved in All Black Lives Matter in London, and he actually spoke right before that water bottle event happened, and he said that because obviously, like he said, XR has historically had a problem with kind of being criticised as like whitewashing like environmental activism, and he's black, my friend, and he gave a speech where he was like, XR, you got to kind of, you know, get your crap together and like sort out what you're doing when it comes to this stuff. And he got like an uproarious like yes we do from everyone who was in there for XR, including people in the trees, which I think is growth definitely from XR. Because I'm not sure that would have happened a year ago. I suspect it would have been more of a like, well, that's your issue and we'll have our issue. So I think intersectionality has like grown, especially when people realise that the climate crisis is actually significantly like rooted in racism. So
I think one of the things that's really helped with that is XR Youth, because obviously XR Youth is explicitly focused on climate justice and everything, like where XR is like, yeah, climate justice, XR Youth are like, no, climate justice. And I don't know, it's just, I think it helped because I was one of the people there, like, and it was because it was an XR Youth, like we formed an XR Youth group, and when they said about it, we were all there like, yes, thank you. So like yes, this is what happened, correct? I don't know, but I think XR Youth has been massively influential in that because they've only been around since like late 2019. So actually, yeah, the past year. Oh, look at this, we're coming together.
Does anyone else have anything they want to finish on or speak about? It can be anything at all related to student activism. No? Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming to talk to me. Well, sitting in your bedroom or living room talking to me. It's been really nice to hear from you all, and especially to hear from people who are not just in Sheffield. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I'll leave you all now to go back to your work.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Thank you for
you.
organising this.